Good morning, my artsy friends. Happy Monday. Welcome to our regular scheduled Monday morning live. Welcome back to the channel. And as always, let me thank you for taking time out of your day to hang out in the Defiant Art community for a few. Now, I'm not going to hold you guys long today. We are going to be looking at a new brush product. We're just going to, kind of do a one over video for them because we are talking brushes here. We'll look at how they kind of perform. We'll do some brush exercises with them to see how they work. And then we will actually do a little small illustration with them at the same time, we're also going to be looking at some a meat and art product as well, right? Because I want to take a look at some paints that kind of swatch through the paints really quickly that we're going to be using today. Because as you guys know, I've been pretty excited to see what Meaden is offering on the whole paint spectrum of things anyway. All right. So, what have we already done? Last live, we painted the very first um, Light Wish 2026 watercolor calendar page where we tackled January and we did 2026. And as far as a Mylar balloon illustration, I thought it was really appropriate for the January calendar page. So, if you guys did not get a chance to see this, or if you want to go paint along to this, check out last live. Um, you'll see this on the thumbnail. And I have done edits to that video. So all of the talking and all of the stuff has been edited out so that you'll be able to get straight to the 2026 Mylar balloon lesson. All right, let's see. What came next? Creation Station. Last Monday night over in the Creation Station, just to show you guys. Of course, if you're a part of the Creation Station, you've seen it already, or maybe you've seen it over on Instagram if you are following me over on Instagram. But we painted sort of some whimsical mushrooms where we were using the Fuumuui solid opaque watercolor 24 color set. We swatched the paints, kind of looked at the formula, or I kind of gave you um, thoughts on the formula from first impressions, and then we painted this mushroom illustration. So, if you are not a member of the Creation Station, I do suggest that you check out the link in the video description for Patreon. Once you get over there, hit on membership and check out what the Creation Station offers. We'll be more than excited to have you join us there if it is your desire. All right. Now, what else have we covered in the last week? We had the meeting Shane Yu. I had to think about it. Solid watercolor review dropped this past Wednesday. If you missed that, it was a review of the paint set and a comparison to the Hitoto as well as the pretty excellent sets by Miling. So if you missed that, do go check out that video. It is packed with information. It is so packed with information. And just really looking at the differences, if any, between those three lines of watercolor released by Milian. And then, of course, I gave you my overall opinion after the comparison. So if you missed that, definitely go check it out as well. And that pretty much catches us up to today. I did not have a video drop yesterday on the Paper Alchemist channel. It does seem that those videos are coming out every 2 weeks. That was not my intention. I'm going to try to pick it up, but I'm not going to try to concentrate on picking it up to every week versus every 2 weeks and to after the official move. So we're looking at somewhere like February before we actually jump into that channel releasing a video every week versus bi-weekly. But definitely you can find the link for the second channel in the video description. So if you haven't checked it out, if you haven't subscribed, go check it out, subscribe. It's a wonderful place for those people that are into junk journaling, art journaling, scrapbooking, card making, DIY journal creation, DIY sketchbook creation. So that channel is going to have all that type of stuff if you're interested in it. All right. And that, my friends, catches us up to today because there has been no new products, no new products, none. All right. So I was really excited to get this in. This is the Fuumuui 3, well, it's actually a 6 brush travel system because the brushes are dual and it comes just like this. It is in a leather holder. You know, I think it's leather. It's really nicely made. The quality is really good. There's no skip stitches or anything. I've told you guys in previous videos that I'm really excited about the things that Fuumuui is doing as a company. They seem to do a lot of due diligence in choosing the factories that they use to white label their products. And there has yet to be one Fuumuui product that I've used that I haven't liked and that I don't think is good quality. All the way down to the watercolor set I was just showing you guys that we use to do the mushrooms over in the creation station. Although it's a very niche, unusual set, it's fun. It's one of those fun sets. Definitely a lot of white mixed into those paints, but it is a fun, muted sort of pastel set. So here is what we have inside our little holder. There are 3 brushes. Let's go ahead and pull them out the plastic here. Let's see. Now these are pretty heavy. These are pretty heavy and they're pretty thick too. They're pretty thick. It's girthy as far as brushes go, you know. So here we have a dual, looks like a dual head. We have both of them seem to be number 10. On this end, there is, and you screw to get the cap off. On this end, oh, gorge, you have the ferrule, which is wooden. Not quite sure what type of wood. Has a number 10 ingrained in there. Metal ferrule. That's the base. I said wooden ferrule. A wooden base, metal ferrule. And this is a number 10 round. Looks to come to a really, really nice point. We'll wash the sizing out in just a second. And then on the opposite end of this one, there is what they call an extended point. So it looks to be a number 10 round that has purposely had bristles manufactured to extend to a really fine point, almost like a liner. That's very unique. I've never seen one like that before. It's going to be interesting to see how those bristles flare out once we wash out the sizing. Let's go ahead and do that. As a matter of fact, I'm going to grab a studio rag here. Um, and let's wash out the sizing and take a look at this. Very interesting. The bristles come together really well, and it definitely holds that point. That's nice. That's going to be an interesting brush to use and see how it performs. This is the number 10, regular number 10 round. And again, comes to a nice point. Very nice point. I mean, that's kind of small for a number 10, not, first of all. Second of all, the point on that is crazy. I'm not even sure why you would need that. The point, you could do so many paintings with that. Comes to a really great point, and the belly seems to flare out. Not as wide as number 10s I'm normally used to, but not bad. Not bad at all. Let's look at the next one where it seems that both ends are number 7. One end is called a feather flat. Now, I was just and this is so cool that these are flats. I was just thinking earlier that I don't run across many travel brushes that are flats, and I think this is so cool that I said that and I opened. I hadn't paid attention to this, so let's look at each side of this. This side is the feather flat. Oh, okay. Looks like a wisp brush almost. Let me see if I have one. I can pull. Here we go. This is a Royal and Lang Nickel um, Aqua Wisp brush. And you see how the bristles are cut away in order to give you the longer extended bristles, help you do all type of foliage and special effects and grasses and things of that nature. And I love this. I have several of these brushes in different sizes. So I think it's cool because if you pay attention, it almost looks like a variation of that. Let's wash the sizing out and see if it stays uneven like that. Oh yes, look, see, I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but the bristles are cut away. It's much more compact and closer together than it is in the whisk brush. So maybe you can get even finer lines or, being made for travel purposes. I get it. So I think it's really cool to have like these effect brushes on the opposite end of what would be a normal brush for travel purposes. That's pretty smooth there. Come on for me. That's pretty smooth. And here we have a regular number 7 flat on the opposite end. Let's get the sizing out of that one. And there. Gorge. So glad for this because I love a flat for a landscape. And 9 times out of 10, if I'm traveling and sketching, it's more than likely a landscape. So yeah, like love that, love that. Can't express how much I love that. Let's see. I don't want to get the caps mixed up. All right. And then here we have the third brush. These are both 3/8 on both ends. You have a 3/8 dagger on one end, and you have a 3/8 cat. So this is a pretty well-rounded brush selection before I even started using them. And the fact that they were able to pack 6 heads into 3 brushes is pretty cool. But of course, there are other factors that come into play as to whether it's going to be a good travel brush system other than just, they packed six brushes into 3 barrels. So let's look here. Um, Dagger is the one I'm normally used to. So let's look at that dagger. And we'll go ahead and take off the opposite end as well, which is the cat's tongue. Now, I love myself a good dagger, a good cat's tongue brush. Got a little, what seemed to be a little ash or something there. Same makeup. Some of the wood has different color variation in it, but you can tell it's cut from the same wood. Let's wash the sizing out of these and see what we have here. And then we're going to make some marks with them and see how they mark up the paper. All right, so here we have our 3/8 cat's tongue. Nice flat belly, comes to a pretty nice rounded head. You can almost get a point on that. Look at that. Nice. And then the opposite end, we have a 3/8 dagger. Looks like our dagger is angled pretty cleanly. There's no unevenness with the bristles there. You have the angle end of the dagger, which comes to a really nice point. And there is a such head known as a dagger head. I'm sorry, not a dagger head, but a angle, and it almost looks just like a dagger brush. This is sort of like a mixture of the cat's tongue end going into an angled brush, which kind of gives you the dagger. So it's a really nice, they look nice. But here's what I'm noticing from holding them. Once the caps come off, they are pretty light. You don't have nearly as much balance with the brush. They're pretty light. You have to look at, you have wood and then hollow metal. And of course, I'm gonna assume it, well, this is probably solid wood pushed down into a hollow opening. that's just kind of combined there, more than likely welded together. So, like, they're pretty light. If you were to put, let me see, let me find the right one of the caps back on, then it seems to have much more balance. However, I don't think there'll be a problem with me painting with that if both of the caps are off. So that's kind of the physical aspect of the brushes. I grabbed some paper here. There's a comparison between the three lines of Melian watercolors, where I swatched them out side by side, did a comparison between the numbers of each to see what would be the same. What I did discover is that the Pretty Excellent line is different from the Xingwei and the Hitoto set. I believe that the Xingwei set is a panned version of the Hitoto set because those pretty much match up color name for color name, color number for color number, but the Pretty Excellent one didn't. So, but yeah, definitely go check that video out. Let's do some mark making here, and then we're gonna do another unboxing real quick. All right, let's see. I'll check the video description in just a second. You know what? Actually, we need to do the unboxing first. So we're looking at some meeting products as well. Um, this is the little eight uh, quarter pan travel set that came inside the meeting advent calendar. Acrylic, you can mix. It's really cool. I've really found myself liking the colors in this little set. Those paints are super rich. So it kind of prompted me to go ahead and purchase this once I saw it roll up across my Amazon feed. This is the Medium 100% cotton paint kit instant use watercolor set. It has 4x6 sheets in it that are acid free, 140-pound cold press, and there are 10 of them. Now it has paints in. You can also see that there's a water brush included. This is a cardboard system, so it was very economical. Information on the back is basically just Meeden branded information, giving the website, letting you know it's made by Meeden and that the product is made in China because Meeden does white label their product. Let's pop this open real quick and see what we have here. Oh, okay. Yeah, so definitely a cardboard system. Nothing fancy at all. Oh, okay. It's a dot card system. And I don't see any artist information with this at all. There is a pad of paper in the middle. It has a cardboard cover on it to kind of protect the paper, and the paper's on the inside. So it's like a little flip pad. It's not too bad. Look at that. I was actually going to use some potentate paper today, but maybe we should be trying out the medium paper. It comes with a water brush. Let's see if I can get it out. Probably standard like every other water brush you've ever run across. Well, not every other one. Actually, there's a lot of different types. That one seems pretty thick. Look at that. That's a pretty thick barrel there. What's going on inside here? Looks like some of the plastic on the inside didn't get cut away when the machine. Excuse me, 1 second. I have to cough. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry about that. It looks like the machine didn't cut away all the plastic, so that's actually a little defect inside. But it doesn't look like anything should leak out of there. And that's probably about a number 4 round head. Something to paint with. That's probably why they threw it in there. And that's all there is to that little set. I don't know why I was expecting more. Let's pop off the cover on the paints. Well, let's see now. How do I pop off the cover on the paints? There we go. So there's just like this little acrylic. You can keep that to paint on or use it, for mixing paints or acrylics or something. And there you have all of the dots. I'm not sure what color is what. There's no color names, no color numbers, nothing of the sort included with them, just like there was nothing of the sort included with the little travel system that came inside the advent calendar. So let's just play with brushes. Let's watch and play with brushes and see what kind of marks we can make here real quick. Okay, let's start with the I don't I don't like this. All right, let's start with the number 10 round in, and let's see. I'm just going to play around with swatching these paints and making marks. Paints are rich, colors are pretty. Nice control there on that. You get some really thin. That's not too bad. The bristles have a lot of flexibility to it. Even with both ends of the caps off, I'm still able to get a good grip on the brush, and I don't feel like I'm going to drop it. It doesn't feel like it's going to fall out of my hand. That's not bad. I'll use that same end. Let's swatch this next yellow here. It's a nice cooler yellow. If I had to say, that's probably lemon yellow on the top, and this is like a permanent yellow or a cad yellow. It's almost gamboge. Love the control. Look how thin. And see, that's what I was saying about the number 10 round head. It came to such a nice look at that. Comes to a really nice point. I don't mind that at all, friends. That's a nice brush head. I really feel like I'm gonna like the number 10. All right, let's flip this over and let's see what we can do with the number 10. What was the special extended point? The number 10 extended point. I don't know if this one is going to be that great for swatching anything. But you know what? We're not going to judge a book by its cover. We're going to see what we can do here. Okay, now, in this case, how far down you get the paint on the head of the brush. And you see how you got that white space there? That's because as I was pressing down on the brush, I had color on the tip and then color on the end of the round. And it didn't all lay down flat at first. So yeah, definitely not the best end to swatch anything with. Although you can get it done, as you can see. But I feel like this brush is going to be much better for detailing. So let's get some thin lines going on over here to see what we have. So that one's going to run out of paint pretty quickly. But you can get real thin lines with it. I can write my name. Look, see, that's almost pencil thin. Oh, that'd be great for signing your name. This is much like I feel like I would end up using this more like a liner brush than anything. but it's really cool to have. Yeah, it'd be really good for detailing. I'm I'm not sure of what I think about the fact that it has the wider belly on it. Um, because most people are not like jamming their brush down into a paint pan to the point where it would probably even make it to that part of it. Maybe if you were using liquid watercolor, or maybe even if you were painting with paint directly from the tube. But I feel like this would be problematic with a pan for the simple fact of if I wanted to get the paint on the tip of the roundest end versus the extended point. Like I'm going to be either pressing the extended point down and rolling the brush because doing it like this, as we typically would to go straight down into a pan, might damage those bristles. So it's, I don't know, something to kind of be cautious about. Maybe, maybe not. Let's I'm gonna try out all these brushes as I swatch, and then I'll come back and just swatch everything else with the number 10 round because it's gonna be the easiest. Let's move on to this next brush, which has the dagger end as well as the cat's tongue. We'll start with the cat's tongue end. I'm pretty familiar with a cat's tongue brush and how it should work. So yeah, let's just go for the gusto. Ooh, beautiful orange color. Of course, I'm not diluting these too much. Go back and add some order to that. That's a gorgeous. That's what I'm saying. This is why I decided to order this from trying out the meeting paints that came in that calendar because their paints just seem so vibrant. I don't know. Ooh, that's nice. I don't know who is making their watercolors for them, but come on. And as you would expect with a cat's tongue, it's going to hold quite a bit of paint. You're going to be able to do all types of effect with it, including detailing, because it does come to a pretty nice point. So you can get some pretty thin lines. You can use a cat's tongue almost like a razor blade. Look at that. It just cuts the line through the paper. Really, really nice. Really, 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 really nice. Let's swatch another one with that cat's tongue. Let's move on to the to the red here. And let's see what we think we have. Seems a little orange leaning, so maybe this is a vermilion. I could be wrong. Probably am. Looks a little orange. Looks a little orangey. I'm thinking maybe that's their version of a vermilion. Let's see what we have here. Yeah, that cat's tongue is going to be nice to use. Great control. Holds quite a bit of paint and water for what it is. These are nylon bristles. Now, typically, when we think nylon, we think golden tacklon, but these are dyed black, much like what's the other brush that I like so much? Much like the Night Pro brushes, where they're nylon, but the bristles are dyed black instead of them dyeing them golden tacklon. And of course, you can get. Now let's see what happens if we use the. Let's go thin up on the tip, press it down, and pull it back up to the tip. Look how nice that is. Lots of control. It was pretty even spreading of the paint as well. Let's do a little leaf. Let's see if I have enough to put some paint on there. Yeah, that's a nice brush. I love the cat's tongue end. I may like the cat's tongue end more than I like the round. Let's switch over to the dagger. The dagger is, what size was the cat tongue in the dagger? I think they were 3/8, right? Yes, they are. They're 3/8. Let's move on to this next little red here. This should be a cooler red. And those looks to be shades of red too. So it seems like there's quite a few reds in this. Okay. Oh, wrong one. Trying to stay consistent. Okay. Yep. Gorge. Loving that. Loving that. Loving that. Loving that. Let's grab a little bit more water and get much bigger strokes with this one. Look at the amount of paint in that brush. I'm hoping you guys can see. Nice. Some Look at the little thin detail lines you can get there. Love that. Okay, this might be my favorite one. The one that's got the cat's tongue and the dagger on it. Yeah, I'm liking that one a lot. A whole lot. You can do so much. You can paint so much with just that one brush by flipping it from end to end. And the only reason I like it over the round one would be that the round one has that extended pointed end. Excuse me. And honestly, I kind of feel like it might be unnecessary considering the fact that you can get such a nice point with the regular round or the cat's tongue or the dagger. But I get it. I get it. They wanted to add another special effect brush. Let's try this flat. Now, as you guys know, I'm a huge flat brush fan, especially when it comes to landscapes. This looks to be a more magenta leaning color here. Just from touching it with the water. Let's see what we have. Gorgeous. Definitely bright colors. Now, this little kit is like $10 maybe. Definitely like maybe $10. And this is cellulose paper that I'm swatching on. Broken. It's okay. Let's see here. Yeah, can get some really sharpness there. Looks like it might be nice for dry brushing. Let's paint a little river over here. See what we got going on. I love myself a good flat brush. Let's add some of that orangey red into that. Get some of the water off my brush. I'm just gonna blot. Still have too much water on it. Now, I will say a bristle came out of that brush and that paint dot held on to it out of the flat. But not too bad. It's not a bad brush at all. We'll swatch another one with that flat. Let's see. I really want to keep going in this book. But I was swatching on the back of a page, so that's fine. No biggie. Let's use this meeting paper and then I'll just attach it inside that book because we want to try the meeting paper out anyway, right? So where were we? We were on this one. It's a nice violet color. still, that flat holds a lot of water, man. That flat actually is surprisingly holding much more water than I was expecting it to. Yeah, I mean, it will do what you need a flat brush to do, no doubt. It definitely will. All right, let's try out the opposite end of this brush and then we'll go ahead and knock out these swatches real quick. And the opposite end is, what was this called? This was called, uh, let's see here, feathered flat. This is called a feathered flat end. And as I was showing you, it's much more like a texture brush, like the Wisp. Probably not the best brush to be talking about swatching anything with, but you know. And that flat brush did release another bristle there, so I'm not so sure about the flat brush side. Probably just need to wash it really well. It's not too bad. Let's see. And that's the effect you're supposed to get with that brush. It will be really good for like grasses. Let's do some more grasses down here right quick. See, make it so easy to put in little grass patches. Love that. It'll make it easier to put in foliage on trees, maybe. Like if you were trying to put in just little leafy details, stippling, putting on spotty texture. It would also do good for like wood grain, probably. No doubt. I'm pretty sure it would. Let's move into a more earthy tones with this one. And we'll kind of play around with these two colors. That's a gorgeous yellow ochre, almost raw sienna. If I had to say though, it's a like a yellow ochre, maybe a yellow oxide. It's gorgeous color. Very rich paints for them to be budget. Let's see. What if we kind of put down a little ground area? Okay, what have you. And then we're gonna go back and pull up some grasses. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. Okay, so first impression right off the bat, brushes, you're getting six. Really cool. Love that whole idea. You're going to get, of the six, two of the heads are special effect brushes, which is not something I normally see in a travel system, which is really nice. You're going to get one, two, three, four regular heads, a cat's tongue, a dagger, a round, and a flat, which is pretty much all the brush heads you will ever need to paint anything, including the special effect ends. So, I mean, overall, for the brushes that you're getting, considering the fact that it's only three barrels, that's really cool. The wood seems to be pretty decent quality. The brush bristles all seem to be pretty decent quality. The only one I had any shedding happen on was the regular flat head end itself. And I'm not sure if that's just a defect in the quality of the bristles or if that's because I didn't wash it well enough before I got started with it. But nonetheless, not too bad. Each individual head does its job as you would expect. But me myself, I could probably go with just the brush that has the dagger and the cat's tongue on it and be perfectly fine. That's pretty cool. So we're going to give these a real world run in a really little mini painting because at this point we should have been on about an hour. Let's see, where are we? Oh, not quite an hour yet. Great. Let me go ahead and swatch the rest of these just so I'll have them in my book. Have no idea what the color. I think this is 100%. This is 100% cotton paper. Definitely. It swatches like it is. Now, who was that who told me? Can't remember who it was I was watching, but they were saying that they believe Meaden's 100% cotton paper is Fabriano. I personally feel like this might be either Balham or Potentate. It's got a very similar feel to one of those. Either way, it would be a really amazing paper. It's gonna hold color saturation well. That's a nice brown. It's a little weird how they have them here as far as the arrangement that the colors are in. That's a gorgeous phthalo green. So they probably call it Viridian. Or maybe they call it phthalo green. Who knows? There's no color names. That's another variation of a phthalo green. Maybe they call that one Viridian. That's probably maybe emerald green. Let's see here. That's sap green. It's pretty too. Jeez. I mean, not as yellow leaning as most sap greens. Excuse me 1 second. I'm so sorry. But pretty nonetheless. Pretty nonetheless. It's actually not bad at all. All right, let's see. This seems to be an olive green. Or was yeah, that's definitely not olive. Yeah, this okay, yeah, I'm pretty sure they probably call this olive green. It's pretty color. All of the colors are pretty. Again, I'm impressed with the saturation and the vibrancy of these of medium watercolors. I mean, probably are not light fast. Oh, look at that. That's gorgeous. So I was doing some color theory research. I was sitting on the couch the other day, yesterday actually, watching the challenge, and I was kind of, playing with my iPad, looking up some educational resources that I wanted to order, and then I started reading an article on some color theory, and it was really interesting. So what caught my attention, or one of the things that caught my attention the most, this is an ultramarine blue. It's very gorgeous. Probably no granulation to it because it would be my assumption that these are not completely pigment based, but yeah, that's a gorgeous blue nonetheless. Let's see what we have here. So, and this is Prussian blue. So the article got to a point where it was talking about colors that will hold your attention longer than others. And of course, color theory plays a really big part in marketing and advertisement. They use color theory as they're coming up with print ads. Uh, and they use the knowledge of color theory in order to try to hold your attention longer or draw your attention to certain things. It's kind of like the same philosophy behind. I skipped over a color. That's okay. Um, Sort of the same philosophy behind why they put the word free big in an ad. and all of a sudden you stop reading it free. You forget that there's that really fine print down there that really explains to you how this item is not free at all, you know. And I can tell you, that's one of the biggest things I go through in the industry I work in, as far as my 9 to 5 is concerned, is that 95% of the complaints are because people did not read that little black writing and are accusing, you know, we're being ripped off. It didn't say that. Well, it did say that. It just says it really small, tiny at the bottom of the page. And you thought to yourself, I'm not reading that. And that was actually the most important part. The free word was actually the least most important part of the ad, but it's the only word that grabs attention. So this article was talking about how color theory does the same thing and how blue, which I thought was so cool. Not my favorite color is green, but I like blue too. It was talking about how blue is used to hold the audience's attention longer than any other color, specifically when it comes to painting, which is why landscape paintings tend to be more popular than any other type of painting. And I was like, wow, because I'm a nerd. That type of stuff fascinates me. I was like, seriously, that is so cool. So that will probably explain why I'm so drawn to landscapes and why I always want to paint a landscape. I mean, ultimately, I would consider myself a aspiring landscape artist. Aspiring being the operative word. Um, but yeah, I just thought that that article was really cool. And I just thought the whole idea that blue is used to hold an audience, especially in painting, attention longer, and people tend to stare at the blue section of a picture, unbeknownst, unbeknown to themselves, longer than they do at anything else. Even when the focal image of a picture is pretty, you will find that your eyes will go back to wherever it can detect the blue. And I was like, oh my goodness, that's so cool. Cause I was nerding out, yelling out, Corinthians, come look at this. And I'm talking to him, and he's like looking between me and the TV, probably thinking to himself, I don't care. I don't care about blue and color theory. But bless his heart, he's sitting there, he listens to me. And even if it's not interesting to him, at least he pretends like it is, and he doesn't make me believe that he's not interested. So kudos to him for that. So, friends, there are the swatches for this meat and paint, and us playing. We're playing around with the different brushes there that came in the travel set. As I said, I think that's a pretty decent. So far, so good. I need to do a painting with them to really, really know how I feel about them. But from using them to swatch, playing around with a little mark making here and there, it seems like it would be a really decent travel brush system. And I think this is like a $35 system. Let me go check just to be sure. And then we're going to paint, yes, you guessed it, a little landscape real quick, a little one real quick, um, just so I can test the brushes out in a quick painting before I just give my final thoughts on whether I think they are worth all the hype. I've seen them quite a bit all over YouTube, so I had to get them to try them. Well, no, Corinthians bought these for me for Christmas. They were on my wish list, so it's not going to be in my orders. I need to actually look them up for Fuumuui Travel Brushes. Here we go. Nope, not watercolor brush. Well, that's what they are too. Okay, so this brush system comes in three different colors: black 03, and black 3, whatever. Um, they are a little different. Let me see. Because this set, now one set, the black 03 set, is the brushes without the wooden part. The ferrule is pushed down to the section where they're joined. So they're much, much smaller. And it has a few different heads on it as well. Then there is this set that I'm showing you guys today, which is the Black 3 set. Black 3. This set is $35.99 for the 3 barrels, 6 heads, um, travel brush system. And so far, I haven't found anything about them that would be off-putting. So let's do a little painting real quick. We'll do a little landscape. I was looking through my color cube, Sarah Renee Clark color cube. I've been wanting to buy the second version, but I've been stopping myself from buying it because I don't feel like I've put the first version to enough use. Now, I own the digital copy. I don't have the actual physical color cube cards. Whenever I purchase the color cube, I always purchase the digital copy and keep it in the file cabinet of my iPad. Let's see, what brush am I going to use? I don't know. In case somebody decides to paint along with me and they don't have any special brushes, I'll just stick to using the number 10 round, and we'll use that one brush. But they do have holes in the end of the caps that will allow air to circulate in there, because most times you are going to be recapping your brush wet, and that's going to help keep the brushes from molding or decaying, or anything from happening to the bristles. It allows that air in there to dry. So this is the round. I'm gonna keep that one off. This is the dagger, and this is the flat. Which I am finna do a landscape. Maybe I need to keep the flat out and give it a better shot. Yeah, let's do that. We're finna do a landscape, so let's keep the flat out instead. The round, we have the extended point, and we have the cat's tongue. And of course, once the caps are back on, they are much heavier in the hand. So just know that it's a little deceiving when you first take them out of the package. When you first take them out the package, they seem a little girthy, they seem sort of heavy. But once you start taking the metal caps off, the weight changes pretty dramatically, actually. So that's something to keep in mind, just in case that's important to you. Now I'm going to cap the feather flat in for right now. We may end up using it, maybe not. And I am going to bring over, I'm not sure if I need this because I think I swatched all these colors. I'm pretty sure I did, with the exception of maybe that green. I think this green in the little travel set is different from any of the greens I actually swatched. But that's neither here nor there. Nothing that's important that I need. I'm gonna put that little travel system over there with the rest of my travel systems because we do have that video coming up as well. All right, let's see. All right, let's see. I am going to pull up my reference photo. As I said, guys, it's on my iPad, so I can't, and I really am just going to be using it as a reference, but it is a part of Sarah Renee Clark's color cube. Where is, here we go. All right, let's get this party started. On a Saturday night, I am going to grab my Potentate little mini sketchbook here. I love this little sketchbook. You can buy it under the Light Wish brand, the Light Wish store on Amazon. I think these papers are the same. In all honesty, I really think that this company white labels the paper for meat, I could be completely wrong, but that's just based on use and experience. All right. I want to put another piece of tape here because we're just going to do something small. I'm not going to use that whole spread. So let's see. I'll just tape down this side so we can use this whole side. All right. Excuse me. I'm not coughing as much as I was before I turned on the live, so the Sudafed must be working. Okay, let's get started here. We're going to start off with a sky. Do I want to put on a horizon line? I mean, if you want to, you can grab a pencil to put on a horizon line. It's probably not going to be all that important. In all honesty, we're only going to come down about a third of the way from the top of the paper. I need something to mix on. I wasn't really prepared to paint, was I? Do I have something to mix on? Clean something up real quick. Won't take but a second. All right. I just grabbed one of those little mixing trays out of, I don't know, one of those pocket travel sets or something. I can't remember which one it was. So let's start with, let's see, what blues do we have here? Um, let's go with this one. I think this one was more ultramarine. That looks about right. And I'm not going to pre-wet the paper. We're painting in a really small area, so I am going to keep my wash a little watery though, so that we'll have a shift. I'm just going to go in and paint, um, maybe paint around the clouds instead of lifting them out. I'll rinse my brush, wipe out the excess water, and then just come and soften that edge. Excuse me. Maybe bring it down a little more on this side, just a little. I'm gonna go in and soften those cloud areas. If you get any backgrounds, just paint the whole area again. I promise it'll be cool. It'll keep you from having blossoms in your sky, or what we call cauliflowering or blooming. Or you could actually just paint the whole thing because we're using ultramarine blue. Let me show you. Paint the whole thing, literally. Actually put a little bit more pigment in that, especially towards the top. And once you get to where you want to, rinse your brush, pull out the excess water, and paint downwards until you run out of paint there. Pick up any excess. Then you can go back with like a paper towel or a rag and just kind of blot to lift our clouds. Although that rag is not working as well as I wanted it to. Guess it's trying to prove me wrong, Charlie. Just a little texture here and there, wispy here and there. It doesn't have to be too much. Let's go down and put in a little water area here. I'm not quite sure how I feel about this flat. Um, I'm really not quite yet. So I'm gonna sketch in where I want my water to go. Let's see. Have a little bit of opening back like that. So I'm gonna put in the water area here. And because we didn't put any additional colors in the sky, we're just gonna leave it blue. Now for effect, you could grab your tile and try to mimic your clouds in the sky. Doesn't have to be perfect. Gonna be putting reflections in it anyway. And this is just a quick little landscape, nothing too crazy. Let's grab a little, I think this was sap. It's a little too dark for what I want right now, though. Let's go with this little olive green. Let's mix those together and see what we get. And let's see, I'm going to put it in here. And yes, I'm kind of painting backwards. Most of you who have seen me paint before know I normally paint from the top down, but I'm just doing a little quick study right now. It's not anything too serious. I really just want to test these brushes. I'm gonna switch over to that round brush in just a second. Um, this flat has some really, this actually might be synthetic squirrel. I was saying, I mean, it's synthetic either way, but this actually might be squirrel, meant to mimic squirrel hair. It holds quite a bit of water. It's holding quite a bit of water. And I'm not worried about anything right now. I'm just blocking in where stuff is gonna go. Let's see here. I guess I can go ahead and put in that mountain. Let's go with, that was yellow. It's almost like raw sienna. Maybe that's a Venetian. I think this is more burnt sienna. Um, I want to kind of double load the brush here. So I'm going to put what I think is yellow ochre on one side of the brush. And then I'm going to put this darker, earthier brown on the opposite side of my bristles. Let's see here. I think this side is probably more in not in shadow. Switch over to my darker side and start. At least I thought that was gonna work. Pick up some of that darker color and start kind of accenting things. If I can get it to pick up. What's going on? Excuse me. I'm keeping it light. I'm trying to keep it jagged. Yellow ochre towards the top and the right hand side where it's going to be lighter. Start putting it down into some mountain shapes here. Kind of leave some white or whatever in there. Then I'll go back in with my darker brown side. And we're painting this mountain like all at once, wet in the wet. Put some of that over here. Very different way for me to paint. I just felt like it would be fun. We'll get a little detail in it later on. I should have left a little bit more white space, so if you're following along, leave a little bit more breathing room inside your mountain area. It's got a little mist right there. Let's see if we can blot and make it look a little misty. We'll see if that's gonna look misty once we put the tree line in. See if I can. Yeah, I think the paints are definitely dye based. They stain pretty quickly. Because even though I'm using I'm sorry, these mountains are bothering me. I have to get them right. All right, let's see if we can. We're going to be mimicking trees down here. So let's go ahead and work on the actual mimicking of the trees first. And I'm going to switch over to the feathered flat side. And we're going to get some tree mimicking going on. Let's go with the darker looking green. Let's see. I just want to, okay. I'm going to grab the flat end again go back in here. I need to get in the base of the tree line first, and then I can go in and add on some tree tops to everything. So I'm just using my flat brush at a 90-degree angle and basically mimicking what I'm going to be putting above as far as the tree line is concerned. I don't have a lot of water in my brush because my paper is still a little damp and I don't want to cause blooming. So I'm controlling the amount of water that's in my brush as I do this. Let's see. I think I want the dip about there. So everything before this would be pretty straight up and down. All right, now I'm gonna start extending this because these trees are gonna be much taller. I added a little water to it to thin it out, make it a little thin. Excuse me. All right, and then it would dip on this end and start to go back up again. So here we're gonna start to get, and as the flat brush dries, without a doubt, it splits apart. So you definitely have to keep that pretty wet. I don't know. The paint isn't bad, but it definitely has its drawbacks that I can tell already. Add a little water to that. And if you're wondering why I'm moving so slow and puttering, excuse me, I'm really paying attention to the paints as we move. I really want to see what they're doing. I'm not sure if I want to like buy an entire real like medium set of paints. They're decent. They are. Don't get me wrong. I'm put a little bit of that olive in there too. They're decent, but um, I'm not sure I would want to have. I would be really concerned about an entire palette of them. Add in a little green variation there. I think that's more of a raw sienna. It's got a lot of yellow in it. All right. Let's do the tree line above it. Switching back over to the regular flat end. Going back to the darker green that I was using in the water. And we're going to start to block in tree line, paint right over those mountains. Again, I'm keeping my brush at a 90-degree angle. And basically, I'm just making like straight up and down marks. As I told you earlier, I was going to keep this simple for you, and I am. You can really just kind of feel that in. Here, I'm going to add water to that. I'm just going to feel that in. If some of the mountain reactivates, that's cool. Mixes in. I'm not mad. And now I'm actually going to go in and enhance that green. Make sure we have enough pigment in there. I'll mix some of that olive in too while I'm at it. This is being done wet into wet, so grab some more of my darker green here. Tree line is gonna come down this way. Don't ask me what made me paint this today. Why I'm painting this, especially why I'm painting it like this, I don't know. I really didn't have any plan coming into this to do a demo per se, but I figured we need to actually paint something with brushes because you were going to be like, well, Thrifty, how do you really know how you feel about the brushes if you haven't actually used them to paint with? You know? Because I ask myself that about a lot of people. Like, how do you know what you feel? I mean, I can have a preliminary idea about what I feel about a product from just watching or playing, but like, until I paint something with them, I always feel like I'm doing a product a disservice, judging it without painting with it, even if the painting is not that great. All right, let's see here. What else can we do to this? We need to actually fill this in just a little bit. A little bit too much white showing right there. But I still want to make it look like it's going up higher. Let's bring these up some more. I'm just kind of balancing everything as I go. There we go. Kind of tuck that mountain in behind that tree line. And I'm going to grab some of this more olive green towards the flat area of our land back here up to the bank of the river or the pond or whatever that is. Kind of flat landed. We'll go back in a minute and put in. And most of this that I'm painting is like the paper is still pretty damp in some areas. I'm not really doing a lot of wet on dry painting here. Hello, Marianne. You finally crawled out from under the rock of chaos and illness. Is everybody sick? I think everybody has been sick. Don't feel bad at all, Marianne. It is not just you. Everybody has been sick and under the weather. I'm sick right now. Eleanor is sick right now. So, I hope you get better, sis, and feel better. All right. Let's go ahead and finish this up. It's not that much left. I covered up what was supposed to be the mist, so I guess we're not worrying about the mist anymore. Yeah. Ooh, don't you love how paintings will progress themselves? I love how paintings will progress themselves. Now I'm using that what I'm assuming is olive green, right? And I do have that area back there a little bit darker. I'm gonna start to come down, take some of that water out of my brush, pick up more of that darker green, and I'm gonna work some of it in the background. Divide off the area where the tree line and the ground meet, just by throwing in a little dark. It's amazing what a little darker do. Hey, I'm down and on around my legs here. And I think I want to put a little yellow ochre in that as well. Just kind of pollinate from the mountains down. So I'm going to grab a little yellow ochre and just kind of throw it in there. Matter of fact, I'll take it up and throw it in the back too. Why not? There we go. That's not too bad. Let's put a little bank around our water here, and then we'll finish up our tree area. Let's see. I might end up putting some little grasses there. Let's grab that number. Excuse me. That number 10 round brush. Let's go with that one. Now this is not an exact replica, but you're getting the point. I'm pretty sure you're getting the point. Let's see here. Let's do a little bit of that darker brown we were using in the mountain. And we are going to, actually I need to give some definition to some areas of the mountain back here. Just make it look like it's some darker areas, maybe some rocks sticking out of that lighter area back there. Just adding in a little bit more color and detail. That's all. It'll be fine once it dries. Bring it on down, get it darker on the base, right in between my trees here. Do the same thing on this end of it. Get it a little darker at the base. I'm just kind of putting in different peaks and things. Mountain look a little bit more three-dimensional. All right. And once we put our treetops on it, it'll look real nice. Let's put in a little bank on our river. Need a little bit more water in there to make it spread. These brushes hold a lot of water too. Make no mistake, these brushes hold a lot of water. This is definitely synthetic swirl. Just trying to put on a little bank there, hoping that you can see it. I'm gonna mix that in with that blue to get more of a neutral. And just a touch of water to that. And go back in and do that again. I'm okay with it being darker. I definitely want you to be able to see that there's land over there that kind of rises up before you get to the water. And I think that's it. I mean, I'll put in another. See, let's put in a little bit more darkness in that tree line just to bring some of the trees forward. And we're going to put some tree tops on the trees as well. So I'm going to mix that darker green into that ultramarine that I was using. I think this is the ultramarine. I mean, I think this is enough of their dot card. This is enough testing their paints, definitely. They're decent. If you have medium paints, I don't think you have a bad thing. They're watercolors. I don't think you have a bad thing at all. Now, all I'm doing is pushing back that layer we already had on there and just kind of throwing in dark around the baseline. There's so many different ways to paint a landscape. As my mama used to say, so many different ways to skin a cat. Not sure why we were skinning cats. I'm not sure why that saying even exists. There are so many sayings from my childhood that my parents and grandparents used to say without even thinking about it that would get you canceled so hard today. I mean, because I really just thought about that. Like, why are we skinning cats? why is it why? Why do we have this saying? Let's put in a few treetops. I just think that's hilarious. And what you're gonna do is you're just gonna kind of go through with the tip of your brush and make this uneven. What you're trying to do is get rid of this feel that the brush just went straight up and down in order to make this. So you're gonna just kind of throw them treetops in random places. Make it feel, I guess, a little bit more realistic-ish. Yes, yes, yes. I'm just sitting here thinking about skinning the cat. It's crazy. Every dog has its day. Here's another one. Like, okay, what are we saying here? What are we saying? Oh, and my granny would have offended everybody. Because that baby said what was ever on her mind. She did not bite her tongue. Sweetest pie would give you the shirt off her back, take in your whole family if she had to, and feed them. But make no mistake, she was gonna tell you the truth about yourself the whole entire time. Now you know that baby ain't got no business out here with no shoes on. Why is it 40 degrees? And I mean, this is a complete stranger in the grocery store. You know what I'm saying? This ain't somebody she raised. This is a complete stranger in the grocery store. My granny, you know, those cats from the old school, baby, did not play around. That baby will ask you in a heartbeat, why is it that's a baby whose immune system is nowhere near yours and you're more protected than his? I remember this one time we had gone to, I don't know if you guys, well, you know, some of you probably old enough to remember the store TGNY. I'm not sure how many of you are. There used to be, you know, before Walmart, Target, all these, you know, there were several other retailers that did a lot of different things. And there was this one store called TGNY, which was basically a Walmart back then, I guess, if you wanted to just say that. Um, and we were in TGNY one time shopping for Christmas, if I'm not mistaken. It was for some holiday or birthday or something of that nature. And there was a kid that was walking through the store. The kid didn't look, you have to be careful. You don't want to say anything bad about kids. Like the kid didn't look, what am I trying to say? Like untaken care of or anything. Um, Kid was groomed very well. And I was a kid myself, so how I remember this, I don't know. But I'm telling you, it happened. Um, and I remember my grandmother asking that little boy's mom, why doesn't he have on shoes? And I don't remember what the lady said because I remember thinking to myself, I don't know her. How do we know her? I mean, we didn't know her, but that didn't matter because my grandmama was told that lady, listen, sweetheart, don't let your baby come out of the house without shoes on. This is how they get sick. His little immune system is not built to handle this cold. And I know it was the better part of 45, 50 degrees outside because I remember her putting my coat and my gloves on me. So it had to be, a little nippy. But then maybe not. We're talking about my grandmama. So you was gonna be safe no matter what. It could have been she could be used to it being 50 degrees outside and it was 40 and that was a cause for alarm. So, but we stayed protected. Those type of grandmothers were super protective and always had the remedy for everything and could cook anything you possibly think of under the sun. I'm gonna see if I can put some little grasses in here. We're gonna make them darker. So let's use that green we were using. But yeah, my granny straight up told that lady, like, baby, don't let your kid come out of the house like this. Now, bless her heart, my granny is gone on to glory and no longer with us. But I think about that sometimes, and I think about the world and the day and the time we live in, and how I'm not sure how my granny would have fared because she was not the bite your tongue, bag down type of woman. She wasn't disrespectful or rude, but she told her how it was. And I'm just not sure a lot of people nowadays could deal. I'm gonna put a few grasses. Oh, look at that. That's real cool for grasses, guys. That's that feathered flat end of the brush. I'm gonna get a little bit more paint on that. But I just always wondered, be thinking to myself, like, so many people would have had a problem with her candidness and her upfrontness and just the fact that she told the truth all the time. Um, Never with the intentions to be rude or hurt your feelings, but if you didn't want the truth, you didn't ask her. You know, if you thought to yourself, "Ooh, this dress I have on look a mess," and you was thinking it all the way to her house, and then you asked her how did that dress look, more than likely she was gonna tell you the dress looked a mess. But you knew that before you left home because you had to look at yourself before anybody else did. Like, granted, you can't say that to people, but she did. She would say it in a heartbeat. I love that woman to death. I miss her so much. Oh my goodness, I miss her so much. Don't get me wrong, I love my mom to death as well too. And the granny I'm talking about happens to be my mom's mom. Go figure. I'm throwing in grasses around. Let's throw in some let's put a little brown in this and see if we can darken these up a little bit. Since it has that ultramarine blue in it. Make them stand out a little bit more. But there we go. Just something real quick and easy. You can definitely give this a try if you would like to. As far as the brushes go, friends, I'm pretty impressed. Um, I haven't found any issue with the brushes at all. I'll go back into that tree line again. That tree line just seems a little crazy to me. Um, but the brushes absolutely, I think that the idea behind them is pretty amazing. To get the six different heads, four regular heads, two specialty heads. They seem to be really well made. They're definitely synthetic squirrel, so they're holding quite a bit of water as I use them. But with that said, I am able to control the water if I need to. So, yeah, friends, I don't have anything bad to say about them other than the fact that I wasn't super crazy about the fact that the flat was losing bristles when I initially started using it. But it doesn't look like it lost any bristles when it came to me painting the little painting here. So again, maybe that's because I just didn't wash it out well enough when I initially started. I don't know. I'm gonna put these paints with my student paints. Dot card is really cool. Hold on 1 second. Sorry. I'm so sorry. Um, Help me. Whew. So, and I'm gonna be honest. I'm trying not to go to the doctor. Who has money for that? I probably need to maybe get a penicillin shot or something. I'm gonna throw a few more watery, kind of more defined trees here on the front. So I mean, like who? I mean, no one really has. I don't have time to really be going to tell you the truth. But I might need to go get a penicillin shot. I mean, that bill gonna be like $3,000. Seriously, just to get a penicillin shot nowadays. Heaven forbids if I call the ambulance to take me. No, I just recently discovered a few years ago how much money it costs to ride in an ambulance. And I said to myself after that that if I ever need to go to the hospital, I was gonna either drive or walk. If I don't make it, it wasn't meant for me. It wasn't meant for me to make it because Who has $3,000 just for riding in the ambulance? Who has that? Who? Why is it that's crazy? Ugh, gotta love it. Oh, so crazy. Yeah, UBJ, you're right. People nowadays have problems with everything. You can't you can't even breathe in public without somebody being upset about the way you breathe it. And the internet, let's just be clear. The internet has made it terrible. And I love it when people go, oh, it's not the equipment, it's the people that's using it. Like they say, like, it's not the guns, it's the people that's doing the shooting. Okay, yeah, okay. But the guns still play the part. Say what you want. Now, I'm not here to preach at nobody about gun rights or nothing like that. But I'm just talking about common sense things here. I don't have a problem with you having your gun. You got a license to carry. You're a responsible gun owner. Who am I to tell you not to have a gun? Now, if you're not a responsible gun owner, you don't need one. There, I said it. You can unfollow if you don't like that part. All right, there. I'm done fooling around, dealing around with it. It's not too bad. You get the point. Let's put some birds in the sky because it wouldn't be a Ken landscape without some. Let me see if I can make up a black here, a neutral here, right quick. But yeah. Um, Hopefully, you guys found this entertaining in some shape, form, or fashion. Um, I think it was a nice, real look at the brushes. I definitely would say, if you're looking for a nice set of travel brushes, give them a consideration. It's not often that you get a three brush system that's going to have six brushes in it, six useful brushes, because I can find applications for every single one of the brushes. It's synthetic squirrel, so they are nice brushes, no doubt about it. Very nice brushes, if you ask me. And I would recommend them, and I would buy them again. As a matter of fact, when I get ready to do, I'm gonna go ahead and order a couple of them because I'm starting early this year for Christmas. Hear me, because I feel like last Christmas season was tough financially, but I feel like we haven't seen anything yet. I really think that it's just getting started as far as the unaffordability of living right now. So as I see sales and why things are still at a price I feel like they're worth it at, I'm gonna go ahead and order them. So I'm probably gonna order a couple sets of these brushes so that they can be stocking stuffers or maybe even birthday gifts throughout the year while they're still at the what was it, 35? Is it $35? Let's see. Yes, 35.99 with 2 day shipping. 2 day free shipping if you are a Prime member. Now, or you can go to the Fuumuui website and get them, which I'm not sure. Let's take a look and see how much they cost over there, just for the sake of argument. Um, and that's Fuumuui.com. They have a beautiful site. When I get ready, I mean, this was kind of the review for these brushes, but eventually I'm gonna kind of do like a Fuumuui experience video where I kind of go through all of the Fuumuui products that I have here in the studio. Um, so we will get a chance to actually look at the website, and they just released. I don't know if they just released it, but they do actually have a 24 half pan set that comes in a tin. Now, just from looking at the paints, they look like they are superior, but they have the 24 half pan variation, and I'm talking for Fuumuui right now, since we're talking about their brushes. I'm not talking about Meeden. We all pretty much know what Meeden offers. Meeden has so many paint sets, it's ridiculous. But as far as Fuumuui is concerned, I've tried their 100% cotton watercolor block. That block I used to paint in with the orange cover all the time. I used all that paper. It was really good. Lately, I've been playing around with the Fuumuui opaque watercolors, which is that like pastel, muted pastel set I just showed you guys. I'm trying these brushes, which I actually like, you know, especially after painting something with them. Then there is the Fuumuui watercolor system that we still have to get to. And I'm not sure who might white label that one, but I can't wait to give it a try and see. Because from the, their website, it looks like it might be superior. It just looks like superior from the picture, but I would actually have to test them out to really know. So I'm going to take a number one black fine liner. I have picked up this set of fine liners from Five Below for $5, and I have been having a joy using them. They haven't given me any trouble at all. They seem pretty juicy, and I'm just gonna go around. What time is it? One? Okay, we're doing good. We're wrapping on up. Hopefully, friends, you saw, picked up on something you liked throughout the course of this video. If you did, don't forget the course of this live, should I say. If you did, don't forget to give the live a thumbs up for me, friends. Feel free to share it because sharing is caring, and maybe someone else would love to see our little one-shot review on the Fuumuui brushes. I'm just putting a black border around it. It's not the best black border in the world, but it's there. This painting wasn't meant to be a masterpiece, but it did come out pretty cool. There, I'll take that off, and I'll see if I can. Yeah, I'll take this tape off too, and I'll just block off that other side when I'm ready to paint over there. Just so you guys can see what this looks like without the tape on it. But yeah, definitely. Like, share. If you're watching on replay, definitely jump in the comment section and let me know what you thought of the live. There will eventually be edits to take out any of the chat talk, but for right now, you will have access to the unedited version. Be sure you check the video description for a link to the product if you're interested. You'll also find links to all of the social sites, the Defiant Art website, which has been updated for the new year, um, Palm Street, which we will start going live again over on Palm Street. Um, January is really busy for me, and we have that move coming up in the next week and a half, 2 weeks that might be big. I'm gonna see if I can squeeze the Palm Street sale in for the month of January, but we may wait to February because the very first Palm Street sale will be a sketchbook sale, and I want to try to make sure I have plenty of inventory this time. Uh, Johnson 126. So there you have it, friends. Hopefully you enjoyed hanging out. Do give this a try. Just know that you can definitely post this, send it to me, DM, email it to me, thriftyapprentice@gmail.com if you would like for me to share it. And real quick, I want to tell you guys how much those brushes cost on. So they're $35.99. Yes, they are $35.99 on Fuumui's website. They are $35.99 on Amazon. So I guess it just depends on how quick you want to get them. I'm not sure what Fuumui's shipping is, but yeah, not too bad. As far as the paints go, you know, they're decent budget grade paints. It's my belief that they are a bit of a dye-based product, but with that said, that doesn't make them bad. There's no artist information, but they would definitely work for practice. They work really well on a 100% cotton paper. Um, and it comes with a 100% cotton paper in the little pad. And like I said, this is like 10 or 11 books. So this would be something really cute, especially due to the fact that it comes with the water brush. This would be something really cute to give as a little gift, a little birthday gift. Someone who likes watercolors. I mean, maybe even as a little travel set. Maybe you want to pick this up because who knows, you're taking a trip to Cancun or something and you want a little something to paint with that's got paper and the paints and the brush all rolled up into one little cute little portfolio that you can stick off in your purse. So I get the point behind this as well. Of the two products, I love the brushes more. The paint, little instant paint kit is not bad at all. It's exactly what it says it is. An instant paint kit. Put the water in your brush and just go. So there you have it, friends. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you go out and have a great week. Creation Station, I will see you tonight at 8 p.m. for our regularly scheduled Mixed Media Creation Station Live. If you're not a part of Creation Station, you can check out the video description for the link. Look over the description, and if you would like to, sign up and join us tonight at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. And you will also get to see all of the other perks that come along with the Creation Station when you go sign up to join. All right. I hope y'all have a wonderful, wonderful week. I'll see you back here Wednesday for our pre recorded release at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And in the meantime, remember, as I tell each and every one of you at the end of every single video, just keep creating, friends. Thank you, Marianne. You feel better as well.